Apologies in advance. Jealousy ensues, but I choose to understand. I said slow, think slower. Cause people are to judge when they barely even.
Okay, welcome to another edition of the KO Corner. This is Kirk. On the line today, we got fellow KO Corner member AB, Abraham.
What's good, man?
It's good. And also on the line, we got TC with us. He's going to leave some input about different things as well. He's another KO Corner member. And for this episode, we're going to discuss the possible negotiations and the status of Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. We're also going to talk about the potential matchup between Abner Mares and Gervonta Tank Davis. But first, we're going to get started with the announcement of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. And we're going to talk about the heavyweight picture and see what's going on with that and just get into details get into details, about that fight. So let's get started. What are your thoughts on, I guess we'll go with you, TC, first. What are your thoughts on the announcement of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder?
I think it's a great move as far as Team Wilder is, for one reason or another, they're having difficulties getting that contract and that date and venue and everything put together for the fight between him and Anthony Joshua. I think stylistically it plays into Tyson Fury's favor a little bit because of his elusiveness, his slickness, and the fact that he moves so well for somebody at his height and at his weight. But at the same time, it could also pretty much play into Deontay's strengths due to the fact that, we've seen Tyson go down from a quick overhand right, one of those looping overhand rights from, I want to say it was Cunningham that put him down in the fight. And it's well known that Deontay has has the power of Thanos in that right hand, man. It's just one of those things that once he lands flush, not too many people, recover and get back up from it. So I love the fight. I love the matchup, and I'm very excited and looking forward to seeing how the rest of that card fills out for, I believe, sometime around Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So it's late November.
Right. What are your thoughts, Abraham?
I love the matchup as well. I'm just happy it's two top guys that want to fight each other. I'm just happy about that. Because right now we have a lot of fights that aren't being made, between top guys. You have Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and they taunt us on Twitter, right? My block, or I run this block, right? And then Terrence Crawford, he gets asked about in interviews, and he's talking about, the fight will get made, and my promoter has no problem, and they play with us, so we're not able to get that fight. There's maybe Mikey Garcia Lomachenko, and same situation, right? Anthony Joshua Deontay. But then we have Tyson Fury Deontay. And it's actually being made. It's two guys that actually want to fight each other. Two guys with two great personalities that can really build up a fight. We've already seen it, and they haven't gone on the tour yet. It's Tyson and Deontay going at each other at the weigh-in, and this time in their weigh-in, it's Tyson's and the guy he was fighting, Pianetta's weigh-in, right? And you see all the fans in between, and it's just hype shit. It's like, okay, yeah, this is boxing. And then you see Big John Fury, his dad, going at Deontay as well. You know, again, that's building it. And then Billy Joe, whatever, you know, at the restaurant, Nando's throwing chicken and running and chasing him out the restaurant. I mean, it's like, bro, we haven't even got started yet. That's wild shit, man. So I'm all in. I'm very happy it's happening.
Yeah, something else that I like about the whole matchup thing. Also, I'd kind of expect Billy Joe Saunders to be on the undercard just because of gypsies tend to stick together. Tyson Fury being the Gypsy King, Billy Joe Saunders also being a gypsy. I'm not sure exactly the politically correct name to refer to Billy Joe and Tyson, but they're very, very entertaining. They're very much showmen, and you know, though many people say Billy Joe's been holding that belt hostage, you know, they're still champions. Tyson has yet to suffer a defeat in the ring. His loss, quote unquote, happened outside of the ring due to, mental health issues, which is something else that a lot of people, which really and truthfully, it should be spoken about more so in the fighting community because, you have guys seeing what's going on with Adrian Broner and, they say he might be seeking attention, but to me, a lot of that shows that he might potentially have, mental health issues that people overlook due to the fact of his overall personality.
Yeah, yeah. Co-main event, that'd be dope. Him fighting, because he'll be fighting Andre though, pretty soon.
Yeah, so it depends on how that
in
fight
Boston.
goes. That's what
Yeah,
it's like. No, he wouldn't end up fighting on that card. Then I want to say that's in October.
yeah. That's early. I want to say it's early October, so that's a quick turnaround. I don't see that happening. But it would have been dope. Maybe we'll get that in the future. Maybe we'll get that for the rematch if there's a rematch for Tyson Fury Deontay. Add Billy Joe Saunders on there. Have him face one of the top middleweights as well. Maybe have him fight Andre in a rematch. Maybe that fight would be just as good. You know what I'm saying? Their first fight, and then where they'll warn a rematch, and so then you can have two rematches on one card.
Yeah, most definitely.
So.
It depends on how the first fight goes. I mean, I'm also glad to see Andre get away from with Banner Star promotion. I mean, it's been talked about for a while how bad his team was as far as getting them fights. He was supposed to fight Charlos whenever he was still fighting at 154. Now that he's moved up to 160, there's still a lot of things that aren't, still a lot of things left to be questioned. He had fought, I want to say it's Alante Fox. I'm not sure if I'm saying that first name correctly or if he was even Alante. I know it's two brothers who were both very rangy within that weight class.
Hold up.
Well, basically, just to expand on it, I agree with what you guys are saying, and it's definitely an interesting matchup. It's a matchup that's kind of been in the making for a while because there was the initial build-up about a year and a half, 2 years ago after one of Deontay Wilder's fights. Tyson Fury entered the ring, had like a WWE style, showdown with each other, a face-off, if you will, and it was very entertaining. Both guys are funny. Both guys have a great personality. And when Tyson was on his little exile due to some out of the ring issues, Deontay Wilder, oddly enough, was one of those people who motivated him to get back into boxing and back into getting into a healthier state of mind. So it's very interesting that the main motivator is the guy that the guy that he's trying to fight, or the guy that he's about to fight. And to me, that's a beautiful thing with boxing. So, I mean, it'll
Yeah.
definitely be interesting to see how the press tour goes, all the different antics from both sides. It's going to be interesting to see how Tyson Fury tries to apply his mind games to Deontay. If he dresses up in a Batman suit again, who knows? But it'll be interesting to see what happens, and more so in the ring. Both guys are very they're unorthodox. They have unique styles for their just in general, but for their skills. And it'll be interesting who can implement the proper style, who can adjust and find a way to win. Both guys have that desire. And I know Abraham, we've had some conversations on the side where we talked about Emmanuel Stewart, the late great trainer Emmanuel Stewart, who commented on the future of the heavyweight division in an interview and had said that the two guys that are going to take over is Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So we're
Yeah.
literally watching that unfold as of right now when they meet up. And Tyson, he never lost his titles in the ring. He's still the lineal champion, and Deontay's undefeated WBC champion. So it's definitely going to be, in my eyes, the
Hmm.
fight for the fight to establish who's the best heavyweight. Now I know Anthony Joshua has 3 titles, but to me, his reluctance to fight Wilder, kind of that's a step back for me. That's a knock on him for me. So I mean, we'll see if he fights the winner.
Yeah.
Hopefully he does, but I'm excited for this fight. It's gonna be a great fight, I believe, for the fans.
It's definitely good for the sport as well. You know, we can get two guys just again with their personalities, and oh man, that's what grabs the casuals attentions, whatever. They'll be driven towards that. They'll go, oh wow, okay. Maybe I've never seen these two guys fight, but the way they talk themselves up and talk up the fight, I mean, I got to watch. You know.
And it's the UK versus America, and that's always a great rivalry.
This is basically going to give whichever party comes out on top as the winner the ultimate leverage against Anthony Joshua. I mean, we've seen how, everything went. First, they were saying, hey, um, you don't deserve 50-50. I have the majority of the belts. Okay, you have the majority of the belts. So then they said, well, you want to fight in the U.S., come with $50 million and I'll fight in the U.S. They came with the $50 million and they're like, oh no, I don't want to fight in the U.S. I mean, it's always a posturing game. Whenever Eddie Hearn and his dad have both said, hey, we don't want this fight right now. Anthony Joshua's been recorded on video saying, no, I don't think that fight will happen until, late 2019 or something of that nature. I mean, it pretty much says everything that people already know. That I'm not going to say that he's scared of fighting him, but it just might be the waiting game. Everybody knows Father Time is undefeated, but still at the same time, people want this fight. You're saying you're going to fight this man. You talk the talk, but it's not even the issue of whenever it was Floyd and Manny, to where Floyd was saying, take the test, and somebody's claim was, I'm afraid of needles. Take the test. You want to fight the best, take the test, and it wasn't until after that was agreed upon that we actually got the fight that we were waiting on, that we wanted. Um, Me personally, I think the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight probably won't even go as long as people think it will. Because both guys are explosive punchers, but you know, uh, Anthony, I don't know, it's just something about him that kind of makes me want to lean more towards Deontay's side. Maybe the fact that he's more of a stationary fighter as opposed to slicker and elusive like Tyson Fury is. But either way it goes, I'm hoping this fight will happen within the next year. But with the politics of the game, I'm not going to cross my fingers or place any bets on it.
Yeah. I think I mean, it'll happen. It's just, um, it'll happen either in 2019 or 2020.
Damn.
Yeah. I know, right? But it will happen because there's too much money. There's too much money involved. Hearn, he likes money. He loves money, and it'll get so big where he has to make the fight happen. Regardless of what Anthony Joshua's trainer says, regardless of what Anthony Joshua wants, he's gonna have to make the fight. I think that's what the reason why it's not happening now. And that's because of Anthony Joshua's trainer, and then Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn wanted to get this app started. He wanted to get this zone, going and running, and he needed his big star for it. He wasn't going to allow it to start, and maybe the possibility of Joshua get knocked out on that. Like, no, or get knocked out even before. You wouldn't have that. So, but by 2019, 2020, he would already have it going with some decent momentum. Probably sign some more fighters, and he'll allow it. And earlier, you said Father Time. Yeah, Father Time is undefeated, but when it comes to heavyweights, it's a little bit. You have a little bit more time. Yeah, the smaller guys, like for instance, Roma Gonzalez.
Yeah, Chocolatito.
Them dudes age hella fast, right? Take a lot of damage, and then just like that, it's a wrap for them. Heavyweights, we seen it where you had George Foreman came up in one of the greatest heavyweight eras of all time, right? Was in some just classic fights, taking some, giving some out, and he was able to come back, and not only just come back, compete with some of these youngins and win.
Became the champion again. Very much true.
Yeah. Larry Holmes, same thing. Was able to come back, fought a prime Mike Tyson.
Hello. All right.
My man. But,
we hustlers out here. Hey, you can argue George Foreman actually fought in the two toughest heavyweight eras, the 70s and the 90s.
Oh yeah, very much so. I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey guys, I gotta jump out. I'll try to jump back in here in a little bit if I can, or if anything, record my portion tomorrow. But man, that is a great point. I never thought about that in the 70s and the 90s. Very much so. The 90s had Evander, Lennox Lewis, beginning of the Klitschko eras.
Riddick Bowe.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe. Hell, even the guy that I want to say he knocked out Michael Moore for the championship.
Yeah.
That still was no Michael Moore wasn't a slouch. So that's a great point. That'd be something to do a nice write up on. But yeah,
right.
I'll get back in here. All right, fellas.
All right, CC.
All right.
All right. Well, let's continue on with your point you made referencing the older fighters, or how fighters age differently. You were mentioning that heavyweights can kind of last longer compared to the smaller weight divisions, and you mentioned the Larry Holmes as an example, George Foreman.
Yeah, and then real quick, a lot of heavyweights start late as well. Deontay started late. He hasn't taken a lot of punishment, so he has a long time before we start seeing the wear and tear. He also doesn't do a lot of running.
Right.
He doesn't do yeah, he swims. So that's great on his joints, especially someone like his slender legs that he has. So we should see him be able to compete at the highest level for a long time if he wants to do that. So I'm not really worried about Father Time. Him being in his 30s, and if he hits his mid 30s, I'm not worried about him. Father Time coming and and defeating him.
Right. Well, with Deontay, I mean, he has great movement. He's very athletic, and obviously has power. And an underrated trait for him is his intelligence in the ring. So, I mean, as he ages, of course, you're only going to acquire more experience and be smarter and judicial with how you approach your opponent. But his power he'll still maintain the power as well, which is a crucial element to his style. And as you mentioned, due to the lack of running, but swimming and doing other things to stay and maintain his shape and form, as you mentioned, I think he'll last longer in the game compared to some of his contemporaries.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, like I said, he also hasn't taken any damage, so he's had one really tough fight, and that was Ortiz.
it was really
I don't
just
know.
that one round.
Yeah. Compared to, I mean, it's different. It's a different era. But if you look at all the punishment that Evander Holyfield took,
Jeez.
all the fights, all the top fighters he fought.
Well, he had he had PEDs on his side, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. All right, other guys in that era as well. There's other
Muhammad Ali
you could
took
talk
a lot
about.
of punishment.
Yeah. So you could before he was even done, you could say, yeah, at some point it's gonna catch up to him, and it's not gonna be a pretty scene, and it wasn't.
Larry Holmes took some punishment.
Larry Holmes, but again, Larry Holmes was able to continue his career, come back.
Yeah.
Have two careers basically, right?
Yeah.
Fight in two different eras. George Foreman as well. Even though George Foreman he was in some fights, man. He was in some fights.
George Foreman, man, he can take an ass whooping too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
but yeah, he was able to come back, and that's wild, So again, I'm not worried about Deontay. People talk about Ortiz is old. Well,
he's fresh.
The wear, in the pros he's fresh. The wear and tear he probably has is from the amateurs. He had a lot of amateur fights, so that's probably it right there. But again, the pros, he's fresh. He's only been in one, really tough fight, and that was Deontay.
And he seems to have bounced back pretty well with that second round knockout. He looked good. he didn't show any signs of ill effects from the damage he took.
Oh, not at all. And I'd like to see him back once again pretty soon. That was an easy, quick fight. I want to see him again. He's entertaining.
Hopefully he's on the undercard.
Yeah, oh, that'd be dope. Put him in there with another top guy. There's so many opponents he could fight.
Well, and can we also give Deontay Wilder props for fighting two difficult styles back to back with Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury? That's tough.
Yeah, it is, and he could easily go fight somebody else. He could go back to fighting dudes that we really don't know
He
of.
can fight Dominic Brazil and catch a body.
Yeah, he could fight Brazil, but no, a lot of people ain't really trying to see it. It do decent, just because they're the build up. They both just don't like each other, like legit don't like each other. So they might even fight the weigh-in or something. They might even have to get two
They would
separate
have to. Yeah,
weigh-ins, and
they would have to.
it'd be back to some '90s shit where
Security.
I remember who was
Tyson
it?
Lewis. Tyson
What?
Lewis at security.
Yeah, that. The other dude from Brooklyn.
Shannon Briggs or Riddick Bowe.
No, not Shannon. Riddick, my boy Riddick. Remember when he fought somebody and they had to have the glass in between or something like that, right? There was one fight he had where they had glass because them dudes was wanted to fight before they even get to the fight. They, And I remember he even punched somebody at the.
Oh yeah. I just can't remember the guy's name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we going back to the '90s.
Larry Holmes got into it with somebody too. Was it
Yeah, Jack.
Who was it?
Was it? I don't.
Cause you remember that man ran and jumped off a limousine and tried to kick dude in his face.
Classic stuff. So with Dominic Brazil and Tyson Fury, that's back to that era. I feel like we'd have some shit like that.
That'd be crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Marcellus, I think that's his name, Wilder, the younger brother.
Yeah.
If he shows up to the Dominic Brazil, if him and Deontay fight, if that younger brother shows up to the press conference for the weigh-in, I mean, shit, pop off even more.
Yep.
He might even jump in and try to fight somebody. Like, it'd be crazy. But all I know is that it will have that '90s feel. That'd be some real heavyweight beef.
Yeah.
And so that fight would probably do very well, actually, to be honest. I know a lot of hardcore fans ain't really trying to see it. There's people that don't think Dominic Brazil's that good, but that build up again will be insane. Whenever you have personal beef, that's great for building up a fight.
Yep.
So you have Tyson Fury that's already set. That meaning that build up, you already know they're gonna have a great build up. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay, if they fight, if Deontay comes out as a winner, that build up would be crazy because you have all the time that they were trying to negotiate, and I think there's a little bit of personal stuff in there as well, and so that'd be great for the build up, So I mean, it's just great. It's great for boxing. This is what we need. We need the heavyweight super fights. I think America has always loved the heavyweight division, and we've heard it from our parents or grandparents. I remember in my day when Holyfield, when George Foreman, when Ali, Joe Frazier, right? We always had to hear that shit.
Right.
Now we can say, hey, granddad, there's a heavyweight super fight. You should watch. You want to watch it together? Hey, dad, mom, grandma, cousin, uncle, whatever. It's a super fight. It's a heavyweight fight. What? Yeah, it's American versus UK. Oh, okay. Well, show me. Are these guys good? Yeah. Deontay, 40-0, 39 KOs. What? Yeah. Turn on. Let's go to YouTube, nigga. Checks out the highlights. Oh shit, he's knocking at everybody. Okay, yeah, I'm watching. Tyson Fury. Oh, this dude slick. He got a mouth on him too. He can talk. Oh wow. Okay, cool. Show him Anthony Joshua. Oh man. So I think these heavyweight super fights will bring a lot of fans back into the sport. Just the fanfare is gonna be crazy. I'm ready, man.
Wow. What are your thoughts about Abner Mares and Gervonta Davis in that possible fight?
I Honestly, I don't want the fight to happen. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I'm gonna watch if it does get made. Definitely, I'll be entertained. But I'd like to see Tank fight somebody else. I want Tank to fight someone in his weight class. So someone that's his own weight, someone that's not coming off a loss, someone that is not moving up in weight, right? Uh, and so he has a lot of options in the weight class right now. It's a decent weight class. So I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
So he fought Cuellar. That was Cuellar coming off a loss. That was Cuellar being inactive. So that was a lot to ask of Cuellar to come up and fight Gervonta Davis. So now they're doing the same thing with Abner. He's having to move up, and I understand. You know, he's a former champ. You know, willing to fight anybody. I understand that, but Gervonta should be fighting someone in his weight class. That shouldn't happen where a champion is fighting back to back guys moving up in weight. That's crazy. I don't think that's
like some Gennady Golovkin type stuff.
no. Oh man, shots fired. But I was gonna say I don't remember the last time that's happened. I can't recall.
Right.
The champions, think about it, that hasn't happened at heavyweight. That I don't recall that happening at cruiser. Light heavyweight, I don't recall that. You haven't heard of Adonis doing that. You haven't heard of Kovalev, Ward. None of them have done that. Super middleweight, no. So I'm just going to the weight class. I just don't see that happening. That's very rare. Back to back.
Right. I'm trying to think.
So the fight, that's crazy. So the fight that we all want to see is him versus Tevin Farmer.
Yep. Who fights in October, by the way, right?
Yeah. I think it's October. He's coming back right away after filing, winning against Billy Dibb, winning a championship in Australia. Now he's gonna fight on the Andre Billy Joe Saunders card in Boston.
Yep, staying active. Quick.
Yeah, it's a good look for him.
Yep, get some exposure.
Mm-hmm. And I hope that sells out. I hope the Irish fans, everybody shows up to that card. You know, supports it. I don't care. I'm not one to play sides and Eddie Hearn. I understand that there's a lot of stuff that's going on between him, Joshua, Deontay, and Shelly Finkel. You know, those negotiations. But at the end of the day, if you're putting on good fights, that's all that matters. So he's put on a good card in Boston. You have Andre versus Billy Joe Saunders in the main event. That's great. You know, Tevin Farmer, we're getting to see him versus a decent opponent. Okay, that's great. Cool. I'm down. And it's okay. I understand. It's also another app that people have to pay for, but you're getting a lot out of the app. World Boxing Super Series on there. Getting Bellator. That's not boxing, but still, that's some other stuff. And then you're getting, what was it? Is it 15 American shows, 15 UK shows, something like that. So you're getting a lot of boxing. I'm happy.
Well,
so, you know,
I know for that particular event, I know if I was on the East Coast, I would be there because that sounds like a really good card. And anytime I can see Demetrius Andrade in person, watch him fight. I mean, I'm gonna jump at that opportunity because he's such a skilled fighter. But him going up against Billy Joe Saunders, who's also a very skilled fighter, and it's for the middleweight title. And hell yeah, I'm trying to see that in person. That should be a good card. But as you mentioned, as we were alluding to, we would like to see Gervonta fight Tevin Farmer or fight someone in his weight class as opposed to fighting these smaller guys. with Gervonta wanting to fight Abner Mares, it's a money fight, basically. I'm not sure if that card will be an event in itself, when it will take place, maybe before the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. Um, from what I understand, the destination is Los Angeles. That's the preferred location to capitalize on the audience, that Abner Mares draws. And I think Tank, when wanting this fight, proposing this fight, had that in mind and was inspired by the Mikey Garcia and Robert Easter event that took place in Los Angeles back in July. And for those who did not watch the fight who weren't there in attendance, it was definitely an electric event. I mean, it's the fans of Los Angeles definitely came out, and it was a great atmosphere for a boxing fan. So I think Tank drew inspiration from that and wants to have that same sort of build up for that fight between him and Abner Mares. So I mean, if it happens, I guess whatever. I don't care for the fight either. I'd rather see Tank challenge himself. But if the fight is to happen, I'd much rather it be on a joint card, maybe a co-main event with the likes of, I don't know, Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of which, what's going on with that fight? Have you heard anything in regards to date, venue?
Nothing. Just they're talking about now. That's probably gonna happen in 2019. It's gonna get pushed back. Uh, Seems like Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. That's what they're really trying to focus on, and there might not be enough money, or they don't want to kind of force that pay-per-view card in there.
Right.
That would be two big cards that they would be asking the fans to pay for, and maybe they're thinking like, okay, we shouldn't be doing that. It won't do well like that. So they're trying to have the focus on one card, and then 2019 to focus on that card. So, which that makes sense because you have the holidays as well, so they know that people are going to be spending money on Christmas gifts, and you have Thanksgiving as well, and so it's just they know people ain't really going to be breaking bread like that, not for no two pay-per-views.
Right.
I mean, either way, I just I'm hoping that they're active. I don't want Mikey and Errol just sitting on the on the sidelines
Collecting dust.
Yeah. Well, when we wait until 2019 to see them fight. No, I want them to be able to fight somebody, keep them active, and then you'll be able to even build the fight even more. For Mikey, he could fight his mandatory Richard Comey, and then for Errol, honestly, I don't know who he could fight that people would be okay with. Obviously, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, they're taking. Terrence Crawford, that's not happening. Pacquiao, that's probably not going to happen. Jeff Horn, he's what? He's an American?
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
No. Then again, I mean, American, he'll fight anybody, but he's fighting soon, so I don't know.
Right.
If he'd be okay with a quick turnaround. We saw Lamont Peterson already.
Right. I think Jesse Vargas is in a fight.
Yeah. Thomas Dolorme.
He won't fight Adrian Broner. That's
no
boy.
Andre Berto?
Huh?
No, that's messed up. Jamal James, he just fought on PBC. Would people be okay with that?
Right.
Probably not.
And I think Victor Ortiz has a fight coming up.
Yeah. Victor Ortiz is fighting the former 140 guy, or he fought Terrence Crawford. What is his name? John Molina Jr.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's gonna be a good one, man. Uh, I honestly don't know who he could fight. Brandon Rios.
I don't want to do that to Brandon.
Yeah, and Rios is coming off
Get knocked out.
Yeah. Devin Alexander.
I don't want to do that to Devin either. but I mean,
yeah, I don't know who he could really fight. There's not really anyone that's free that people would really. Maybe Kell Brook, jump up for one fight, go up to 154 and get that Kell Brook rematch.
They'd have to make a really sweet offer for Errol to do that, I think.
Yeah.
Because they discussed that in the past when they were at some fight together and were talking about it, and Errol said, "Get a belt first, basically, and I'll fight you for the strap." I do know Errol was anxious to fight. I mean, I follow a few fighters on social media. I follow his Snapchat, and he had mentioned a few days ago he's ready to start training camp. Maybe there is something in the works that we're unaware of, but to your point, I would definitely like to see him stay active. I want to see Mikey stay active. I wasn't really thinking about this fight coming into fruition until the conclusion of the Robert Easter fight, the Robert Easter or Mikey Garcia fight, where Mikey emerged victorious and Errol was obviously there in attendance, and they asked his opinion on fighting Mikey. So I know Mikey Garcia had mentioned it like last year, and I think people just were kind of laughing at the notion of that fight, and I was one of them, one of the people like, whatever, it's not gonna happen. But upon conclusion of his fight against Easter, emerging victorious, and the interviews stating he wants to fight Errol, and Errol himself being interviewed regarding that matchup, it definitely seems, like more of a reality, this fight happening. And when I was in attendance to that fight between Mikey Garcia, and Robert Easter, the consensus from a lot of the media members was that Mikey Garcia actually has a pretty good chance of beating Spence. So I don't know if they drew inspiration from his fight and were just high off the moment, but they think he can really defeat Errol. He has a good chance. And I'm sure, there's a pretty good contingent of the boxing audience who may think the same. So the more that it's talked about, I'm definitely more excited to actually see it happen. And I mean, I'll put it like, I'll make a comparison. It's kind of like if you're in class and there's like a really cute girl that you like, and she's very attractive, but she never pays you no mind. And then all of a sudden, one of these days, she takes a look at you and she winks at you and gives you the number. Talk about some, hit me up sometime. We'll get together. Of course you're gonna be like, all right, yeah, bet, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Let me let me see what's going on with that. But as we're waiting for this announcement, it's like that same girl, like, oh, you know what? The date that we had planned on Friday, let's push that back. Maybe we can go out next week. Maybe we can go out next month. It's kind of like that, where I was hyped. I'm ready for this fight. I want to see it happen. But now that we're waiting, and now that it's being discussed that it might not happen until 2019, I'm like, let's make this fight. I want to see it.
Yeah, same. Well, we're out of time for this podcast. This is the third one. I'm hoping you guys like what you heard. Keep listening. Keep following us. Keep downloading. You can follow us on Twitter at KO Corner. You can follow us on Instagram at the _ KO_corner. And thanks for everything. Thanks for following us. Thanks for showing love, and we're gonna continue to get better, get used to this, and bring you a lot of great content. Bring on guests and bring on the fourth member of KO Corner. We're hoping to get him on soon. You know, if you hear this, Rich, please please show up for the podcast, man. You know, the public wants to hear what you got to say. He's a very, very smart boxer, fan, knows his music as well. So you guys will love what he brings to the table, and what he says. So again, thank you, and this is KO Corner, and we're signing out.
Peace.
He preaches against materialism, but fills his garage with a Rolls Royce, a new Cadillac, a new Lincoln, a new camper.
2 Rolls Royces.
2 Rolls Royces.
Now, I'll tell you another thing. Now, I wish he was here, the man who wrote it.
Well,
I preach against material things.
Yeah.
When have I ever preached anything against material? I don't preach against material things. I teach our people and our religion that heaven is not on earth. I say heaven is not up in the sky. I mean, heaven is on earth. Hell is not underground. Hell is on earth.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.